Hi there, my name is Jason Church, and I am the family pastor here at Convergence. And along with my wife Kim, we also help to lead our microchurch pastors. Kim is also the children's pastor here at Convergence, so we wear a lot of different hats. We have been down here in Fort Worth and at Convergence for the past 24 years. We've been married 25, so we pretty much came right out of college and got plugged in, and this has been our home ever since. We have four wonderful kids. They're ages 21 down to 14, and so yeah, we love Convergence. We love Fort Worth, and that's a little bit about me. I just wanted to kind of share that before we jump into the subject that I want to cover today, which revolves around the whole area of small groups and connecting in relationship. So we have small groups in our micro churches, in our youth group, our men's group, and other ministries. We break up into small groups, and one of the values that we've talked about as we've really worked to try to build a good culture and insert the right ingredients in a small group. One of the things we've talked about is everyone has a voice, everyone participates. Really important foundational elements of a small group, because that's why we're breaking them into small groups in the first place, right? Because we want everybody to be able to have a piece and to be able to share a part of themselves. But another aspect is this whole issue of vulnerability and transparency, being vulnerable with each other, being transparent with each other, and definitely a high value for our small groups and for relationships in general here at Convergence. And so I want to talk about really what is it, what is vulnerability, what is transparency. I want to define that. Why do we even need it in the first place? And then talk a little bit about the who this involves, when is a good time to be transparent, vulnerable, where is a good place, and then also the how. How do we actually be transparent and vulnerable with each other? And so let's jump in with the what. Let's define what transparency is, what vulnerability is. Transparency, very simply, is just me showing you my true self, right? It's just me saying, okay, this is who I am. I'm not putting up any masks. I'm not trying to project some image of myself other than this is just me. And sometimes we're challenged, I think, in small groups. We may not be like bold-face lie of projecting an image, but we'll slip in, like last week I was really struggling with this issue, but the Lord and I worked it out, and so we've got it all worked out, and so I'm all good in that area now. And so we give people parts of ourselves that we feel like look the best, and so that's not really being transparent. Vulnerability is kind of a close cousin to transparency, and I've heard vulnerability defined as it's giving people information about yourself that they can hurt you with. So it is like transparency. It's showing people your true self, but the risk involved that they may reject you, they may not. They may judge you, they may devalue something that you love as you're showing them who you really are and what's really going on in your life. A lot of times when we talk about small groups, or we talk about vulnerability, transparency, a lot of times we really kind of camp out in that area of the things we're struggling with, our deepest, darkest sins, and absolutely, that's definitely a part of being vulnerable, being transparent. But it's not everything, and so I want to maybe widen our scope a little bit about what being vulnerable, being transparent is beyond that too, beyond those struggles that we have, because honestly, a lot of the struggles that I've had with transparency, with vulnerability, is in showing people the part of myself that I'm really excited about. And let me explain what I mean by that. So if the Lord has maybe been showing me a part of my destiny, something that He's doing with me in ministry or in my family, or something I'm excited about with business, whatever it is, I if I reveal that to those people that I'm closest to, if I show them that, what if they don't value it the same way I do? What if they're not as excited about this thing, and this thing that's been stirring inside of me that I've been getting more and more excited about? If they don't respond the way that I want them to respond, then it could be hurtful, right? And so just kind of want to widen our scope a little bit. Vulnerability, transparency is showing people all, not just, yeah, I'm struggling with this thing, or I'm struggling with this thing, or I used to struggle with this thing. It's all of it, and being much more open. So why is this important? Why is vulnerability important? Why is transparency important? It's actually, I think, really a very simple answer, and that is, it's because we were created to be known, and we were created to know. We were created to know God, to know other people. We were created to be known by other people, to be known by God. We were created for connection. That's why God created us in the first place, is to have a relationship with Him, and then also to have a relationship with each other. It's the two greatest commandments, right? Love God, love people. And you can't do any of that. You can't be known by someone else if you never show them your real self, right? And you can't know others unless they're vulnerable and transparent with you. So it's needed for us to live out what we were created for. So yeah, that's kind of the why. Then I just kind of want to hit very briefly on the who, the when, and the where. So as far as who, it's about you. I just want to encourage and kind of maybe even correct a little bit when we're sharing, when we're being transparent. I'm not being transparent for my wife. I'm not being transparent for my kids. I'm not being transparent for my friends. That's actually called gossip. And so I'm sharing about me. So that's the who, is I'm sharing about me. Obviously, there are things that people do that impact you, and that is going to play into part of your story. But I do think it's really important for us to maintain integrity in our culture, that the focus and what I'm revealing, what I'm being transparent, vulnerable about is me. So that's the who. The when is important. Timing is really important, and I think I've been guilty of this aspect more than anything, of having the wrong timing for sharing vulnerable and transparent things about myself. And I'll open up. Sometimes I'll open up conversations, especially with my wife. I'll open up conversations with her at inopportune times. It's like we're getting ready to walk out the door, and hey, I'm really excited about that the Lord just showed me this morning, and there's not an opportunity for her to even respond correctly about that, or respond in a way that is filling my love tank, so to speak. So when's important. Don't be standing in line at Starbucks getting ready to order coffee with a buddy of yours, and let that be the time that you share your deepest, darkest sin. Not a great time. The when is important. And then the where also would be important. You don't want to be starting conversations up in the middle of a crowded room sometimes, and so we'll get into a little bit of the when and the where too, as a part of the how. One thing I think is really important is, as we talk about vulnerability and transparency, I think a lot of times we will focus on the risk, because we are taking a risk in being vulnerable and transparent. But we can, I don't want to say reduce the risk involved, because it's still risky. We've all been hurt, right? We've all had people walk away from us. We've all had people wound us. There's going to be risk involved. And so I can't say that we're going to reduce that down by doing this, but I think that we can be more effective in our connection by creating the right space for vulnerability. And what I mean by that is to have a group of people that you feel like you can trust, and then meet with them on a regular basis. So that's what I was saying. It kind of goes in with the when and the where is have a designated time, a designated space that you are being vulnerable with a certain group of people. It's something's going to happen inside of you. Something's going to happen inside of them when you say, "Hey, this is who I really am. This is what I'm really struggling with. This is what I'm really excited about." And they hear you, they respond to you, and then they show up the next week. There's trust that's built there, right? And there's courage that's built in you when you shared a part of yourself, you shared your full self, and they said, "I still love you. I still care about you. I still want to be a friend. I still want to connect with you." And so I think that's a really effective how is creating time, creating space to again and again show up and connect with those people and be vulnerable with that same group of people. And again, it will take risks. That's definitely a big part of the how, is it will take risk. So I hope that this has helped you. I hope this has opened up some ideas for you about what vulnerability and transparency is. But most of all, I hope that you are inspired and excited about walking in a new level of transparency. And I just want to pray for you right now. Lord, I just ask right now for everyone watching that they would enter into a new place of vulnerability, a new place of transparency, and letting people see who they really are. Because I want you all to know, like, we need who you are in the body of Christ. It's really important that you bring your full self to the table and not hold anything back. God created inside of you unique things that he didn't put in anybody else. And for you to hold a piece of that back, it's holding back a part of Christ. You are the body of Christ, and so don't hold back any part of yourself. Bring it to the table. And so I'm so thankful that you took the time to watch this and to be a part of this community, these mentoring moments. Feel free to ask any questions, make any comments below, and let's engage on this subject a little bit more.